Hey guys, so thanks for coming back. This is going to be chapter 37, Twice at Once. Sorry for how blown out that last video is going to be, but like also enjoy it. Sun's great, sun's beautiful. I'm in Canada. It's September 2018. It's getting colder. The leaves are falling, things like that. So the summer's come and gone. My hair looks good though and all that, so I'm happy. Anyways, let's get into this. It's called Twice at Once. Twice at Once. Yeah, this one's an interesting, funny kind of chapter. We walked into a shack of a house, dressed in old magazines, an endless supply of beer bottles and decaying microwave dinners. He exited the washroom surprised to see us. I smiled and tilted my head. You've been a bad boy. He tried to run away and River pushed him in the couch and it broke. We watched the springs and wood protrude from it so suddenly. I jumped on him and peeled off my jacket and placed it down beside him. We've seen your slick hands at work. I took his hands into mine. What a shame. He ripped them from me. Fuck you, you crazy bitch. I smiled, then made a frown of sadness. I stood up and I walked towards River. River pushed all the garbage off the table in front of him and sat down. What's your name? I'm not fucking telling you. River punched him in his face, hard. Then he punched him again on the right side. That's for my girlfriend. Now, what's your name? Frank. He spit out blood onto his carpet and began to cry. God, you're pathetic, I whispered. Then I walked out of the room and looked for a knife or two. River sat in front of him smiling. We're just going to make sure you never steal again, or at least not for a long time. River got up off the table and pushed it close to Frank. Place your hands on the table. No. Tears soaked his face. River walked behind him and grabbed his hair. Listen to her. No, I can't. River slammed his head on the table twice and broke his nose. Listen to her. His hand trembled as he placed his left hand on the table. And the other. No. River slammed his head on the table again. Both hands now on the bloody table. I took the knives from behind my back and stabbed them in the center of his hands. River and I took the stolen wallets and walked out. So that chapter is just about someone stealing from Aelin, or them witnessing someone stealing and how they dealt with that. So again, they didn't kill the person, but they kind of punished them. So not quite chop off your hands like the Middle Ages or something, but still did something pretty intense. It's just kind of a quick, fast scene. I feel like him being behind the couch and hitting his face on the table would be difficult, but whatever, that's what I wrote. Maybe it's a taller table. Maybe it's kind of like Batman with the Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker. So maybe it's like that, you know, but not his head, just on the pencil. Anyways, I'll go on to read chapter 28. It's a little longer, but again, like I said, there's not that many notes or anything. At this point, I'm kind of just reading the book, like certain scenes. Some of it is referencing certain situations I've been through or something, but most of the time it's kind of just like I'm writing a story, right? So there is a scene that I say I'm always shocked by this when spring starts. So okay, so this is for chapter 28. Sorry, I was reading something for chapter 28. I'm playing with my puppy. Also, this one's called Blood in Your Head. Speaking of, Dark Night. The snow began to melt, displaying the carelessness of others as it was coated in white death. Orion, you could come here. So it was there that I said I'm always shocked by this when spring starts. So there's my puppy, if you guys haven't seen him before. Yes, hey puppy. Sit. I think he got this on my glasses. Anyways, so covering mounds of garbage and decaying leaves. The world looked worn down as if it had gone through too much. I sat in River's room and played with the sheets on his bed. I listened to the water force itself out of the shower head, and I waited for him to come out. He came out dripping in water with a white towel over his waist. I looked at him in admiration. "What?" he smiled. "Nothing." I looked down. "Eowlin?" "Yeah?" "I want to know if today I can wander through your mind." "That's fine with me. Why do you ask?" He sat down beside me, dripping and holding his towel at the front. "I'd just like to know what you're thinking, really." "Okay." I closed my eyes and I began to cry. He held behind my neck and kissed my eyelids. I felt a shock flow through my body. Then I opened my eyes and I was with River, kissing him over dead bodies drenched in blood. Then it disappeared. I turned around and a skull crashed into my face. My breathing slowed and it went further, the skull pushing forward. I smiled. I smiled again. I could feel every bone shift in my face. Then I fell to the ground. I got up in a pile of leaves as a little girl playing in the woods with a boy, with River. We did nothing but laugh and whisper to each other. Then leaves danced everywhere, and I was back in River's room. I sat there with him, and he kissed me and began to dress in silence. I watched him, still holding onto his towel. "River, are you okay?" "Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't I be?" He held my eyes and took my hand and told me to follow him. He grabbed my jacket and threw it over my shoulders, and we went in his car. We kissed until the car warmed up, and then we drove away. We drove to an abandoned house somewhere in the country. We got out, and he held my hand and began to play with the lines in my palm. I followed him in silence and comfort. We walked to the back of the house in the woods, and out of nowhere there was a pond. So again, this is kind of another part of the book. So with this chapter, okay, the skull part that happened. So one time I went to sleep and I had Cradle of Filth playing. I'm not really positive the name of the song, but I will put a link. It was like Her Ghost in the Fog, something like that, but some like hardcore like shit going on. Anyways, in the dream, I was like looking forward. I turn around and a skull like smacks me in my face. And then I start smiling and I feel like every bone like shifting in my face and I smile again. It was the creepy. I never listened to my iPod or my iPhone or whatever. It was probably an iPad back then. While I was sleeping on like random. Never again. It was too creepy. I felt my face hurt kind of when I woke up, like it was really messed up. The next chapter, which I'll read later, is also correlated to a dream, so that I'll bring up. So this part you get to see them going into each other's minds. So again, you kind of see the chaos of Eowlin. She's making out with River on top of a pile of bodies. Kind of reminds me of Sin City. The scene where Rosario Dawson and Clive, I can't remember his name, but I love that movie where they get together. And so yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. And then after that, they're playing in leaves and things like that as children. So River kind of just gets a tip from going and looking into her mind. That's how come he's like, why would I be? So that's everything for this chapter. I'm gonna go see what this puppy's up to, and then I'll go on to read the next chapter. Thank you again so much for getting this far with me in the book. And yeah, this is Orion. He's only 10 months, but he's huge, really big. Okay, thanks. Bye.